Deep inside the evil realms, bordered on Eternia's Snake Mountain, there are villains, and there are creatures unlike any evil we've seen before. And among these villains are henchmen of none other than Skeletor. From the Masters of the Universe live-action movie, is these figures we'll be reviewing today.
Super Dave here with another Super Dave review. Super Dave here, getting ready to take a look at 3 of our movie Masters of the Universe live action 2026 movie action figures, live action figures. And of course, that will include Skeletor himself. Getting ready to look at him. Looks like I've got the one that has like the gaping teeth thing in the back. I'd love to find the other variant that I've seen on Instagram where he's got more of the teeth filled in. Kind of like what you see in the picture here. I'm not sure what is up with that part, but you can see, of course, like we've been seeing the power sword separating He-Man and Skeletor. Then you have an action shot of the action figure back there holding up his staff, some other poses that he can get in. There's another little picture of him there. You can see, of course, the logo, the varnishing on top, the barcode and the legalese there on the bottom. And there is his little bio. If you'd like to pause and read that now, you certainly can. All right. We're also going to be taking a look at Trapjaw. Just look at this fella. I mean, he was awesome in the movie. Really enjoyed him. There's the power sword separating He-Man and Trapjaw. They actually go at it a couple of times in the movie. There is the action figure showing some different pose options, as well as his accessories looking cool there. There is his bio. If you'd like to take a quick look at that, you certainly can. And there is another look at the figure there. But yeah, really cool. And there is his bottom if anybody needs the barcode. And so looking awesome. And then finally, as far as in this wave, we then also have Tri-Klops looking amazing also. He was kind of in charge of some troops, kind of leading the charge a few of the shots in the movie. There is Tri-Klops. There's He-Man, the power sword, as we've seen. There is the action figure holding up his rifle. Poses there, you can see him in the action figure. And here's our Tri-Klops little bio, if you want to read a little bit on him there. All right. And there's another shot of Tri-Klops there on the side. Really cool. So going to be taking a look at this awesome action figure as well. These movie characters are really cool. They look so much like the figures, or the actors, I should say, in the movie. And so let's take a look at these guys right over here in Snake Mountain right now. And first, let's take a look at our Skeletor, Trapjaw, and our Tri-Klops accessories. And Skeletor comes with his Havoc staff, looking really cool. Does look like it's kind of a possibly a translucent blue eye up in there. We'll take a closer look. But yeah, I do believe there are translucent blue eyes, kind of like what we saw in the movie. They don't glow or anything. No glowing eyes like we saw in the movie, of course, but it does have a translucent gem there in the chest armor there, and that iconic looking, I don't know, exoskeleton-like, I don't know, almost covering over his body. You can see it in his hands there too, very bone-like, really neat. The cape is not cloth, but it is flexible and kind of a neat type material, but it's different from what we normally get. It's a very flexible and almost soft rubbery plastic, if that makes any sense. You can see his boots down here. He comes with basically one set of hands, a set of weapon holding hands, as you can see, and then individual hands. He's not really a set, I don't guess, but it is left and right. You have a balled up fisted hand and then a grappling looking hand, but only one of each of those. So he gets 3 style hands, but one set, one complete set. Like there's no 2 balled up fisted or 2 grappling, just one balled up fisted and one grappling. There's a right fist and a left grappling hand there. But of course he can have either horizontal or vertical hinges because of the way these new Chronicle figures articulation go. And then with our Tri-Klops, he has his visor, which has translucent eyes, red eyes. He's got like a really cool sniper style rifle. And then he has 2 sets of hands. He's got weapon holding hands and balled up fisted hands. So he's got 2 sets. Then moving on over here to our trap jaw. He's got that really cool articulated jaw there. Very reminiscent to what we saw in the movie. He has his blaster piece there in his right arm. And then to attach also on that right arm is his hook and his blade. We saw all 3 of those in the movie. And then as far as his left hand, he does come with a weapon holding hand and a grappling hand, as you can see there. So that is their accessories. And I'll go ahead and show you, you can definitely see that those are translucent eyes, the blue eyes in the ram head, the Havoc staff. So that's cool to know. They do glow if you put a light behind them. And you can also see Skeletor does have beady red eyes back in there painted too. So now let's take a look at their articulation. I'm only going to take a look at Skeletor because everybody else is going to be the same except for Trapjaw's jaw and arm. We'll take a look at that and do a quick look at his articulation, which are going to be pretty much, like I said, the same for all 3 fellas except for Trapjaw. All right, bringing our Skeletor on in here, we're going to take a look at him. He is looking excellent here. Really cool looking. And he's going to be able to look up that much. He's going to be able to look down pretty much all the way. Looks really cool. He's even going to be able to get some head pivot, even with that cowl a little bit. And as you can see, his mouth opens all the way and it will close. And you can see, I don't know, there's some differences in teeth. These kind of like go upward, and there's another version, another variant of Skeletor where the teeth go more back instead of kind of slanted up from what I have seen in pictures. So just a little different there on that part, but of course he will turn side to side. No hindrance there, even though all of this is connected. This back part and this cowl are all connected to this head. You can see it pops right off here, and there's a little disguised part there to cover part of the back of his jaw. But you can see there's a neck joint which goes forwards and back. And then there's also a ball joint that will do the same. So he's going to get plenty of range there. So that's excellent. And it pops right back on very easily. He's going to be able to get full range of 360 with those shoulders. He does have that Chronicles style butterfly joint, which will go back about that far and go forward about that far. So it is functional for sure, and it even will shift a little bit up and down. He also has bicep swivel. He has double jointed elbows, which get full range. Looks really good there. A little bit of a gappage right there. Then this hand, of course, will go horizontally, or if you change the direction of it, it will also go vertically like I have this one directed. You can see the fingernails are painted. You can see what I mean by that, like bone type structure of the hand. Looks really good. These gauntlets are adjustable, I do believe. Let me double check. Yeah, see, they will adjust. And see, that one popped out all the way. That it's supposed to actually pop out from the hand, not out of the arm, but this one has been doing that. But you can still cover the ball joint with the gauntlet, and the gauntlet will swivel some. And so he will get also a full T-pose, of course, with those arms. Moving on to the diaphragm, he is going to be able to rotate. He's going to be able to go side to side just a little bit. And he'll only be able to crunch forward a slight amount there. And he goes back just a little bit, which more or less is a sit-up straight, more or less. Then when you add the ball joint in the waist, which also will swivel, then you'll get about that much of a crunch. And then about that much of a bend back, which is better. And then you can also combine the two to get a little bit more side to side. So you get the full hula hoop range there, and he's definitely going to be able to angle more at a waist even than at the diaphragm. I don't know why these diaphragm are so limited, but they are. He does have the pull down method, as you can see there. It shifts up and down, and because of the way these legs are designed up in there, as you can see, the ball joint, it will allow for some thigh rotation, not all the way, but it shifts. It does work. And when you pull that out, he's going to be able to kick up about that much. He's going to be able to get a little bit of a stride as well. Look also and see that it's double jointed knees, which is done kind of weird there. That's kind of strange. Kind of a big clunk there of a double jointed knee. So it's not as well done, I don't think, as He-Man was. I don't think, but maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe it's just showing more because of the blue. I don't know. But he does have boot rotation as well there. He's going to be able to get not full tiptoes, but go down well enough and go up really good. And also has excellent rockers with a peg hole in the bottom. So I think Skeletor has really good articulation. Tri-Klops Articulation is identical, except he does have the ability to rotate this eye part. And it is translucent stones up in there, which is really cool. You can see really well painted. I just love this outfit. This is one of my favorite Tri-Klops as far as the way he's designed. You see that these will unbuckle, so you could take the harness off, but it does not hinder in any way the rotation or the crunching ability. So pretty much the same. Look down, look up. He does get head pivot, look side to side fine. Everything is the same completely. Drop down, all of it. Does look like he almost has some camouflage going on with these pants. But yeah, everything is the same as far as his articulation after covering the visor. And that trigger finger, weapon holding hand, that trigger finger goes right into the trigger chamber when he holds the handle, so that's perfect. Looks really good there as far as that hand that comes with him. All right, bringing our trap jaw on in here. Let's look at that head sculpt. Those eyes are just like really diabolical. I think being that he is a tall fella, he is taller than Skeletor, it's kind of odd that he's looking up. Looks like they would have had him where he could have looked straight ahead a little bit more, so when he's looking at He-Man, he's not, because He-Man's shorter than Tri-Klops as far as in the action figure. Not sure. It seemed like in the movie possibly too. But just look at the detail. His belt there, don't have any paint apps other than just kind of a glossy black. There's a rough looking leathery loincloth going around him here. Not sure if that's removable. I don't think so. The harness is, the chest armor is, because there's your buckles. He's got some armor here on his left shoulder. And then of course on his right arm, he's got these spikes and some really cool looking equipment there, allowing that arm to function really well. And then of course you see already it's popping off there. That's how the equipment goes. So you've got the cannon, which you see He-Man in the movie ripping off that cannon and using it himself. And then you can use this hook as we saw him using in the movie. And then also he has his blade, which he comes down, tries to come down toward Man-at-Arms to use, try to slice him up. In the movie you saw that, so that's a really nice looking blade, really cool looking design. So yeah, very movie accurate, everything. We'll go ahead and leave his hook on. That's what we seem to see him using the most, and that's really cool. And that does not rotate, that's all one piece, but of course that will rotate once you plug it in. All right, he'll look up about that much, really good amount. He'll look down all the way. He does have his jaw that opens and closes. He'll get plenty of pivot side to side. His arm will go 360. He also has the butterfly joint, and of course the same kind of diaphragm. It'll rotate at the diaphragm and at the waist. Full hula hoop. This part here, I was going to see, that's kind of attached under there in a way that you don't want to tear that off. So it's not really going to go 360 unless you strain that plastic. So even though it's possible, I'm not going to do it, but it'll go back really far back. You can see there's some copper, goldish copper right here at this joint, which is cool. It's only a single joint at the elbow, as you can see there, but there is a bicep swivel. Oh, and that pops off. I just found that out. And yeah, there's like a bolt type mechanism. You can see it right there, which goes into a hole, and then there's a socket that pops into, but it'll come out about that far. It will not go T-pose. This side almost will, but this side does not. That's about as far as you're going to get. So there's a little limitation on this side, but like I said, bicep swivel, double jointed elbow on this side, which this one looks better than Skeletor's looked, in my opinion, here, as far as the way it's meshed together. But yeah, very unique color, this blue, very deep. But I think it was that color in the movie. Looks like we're pretty much working with the same type torso and abs, possibly, as He-Man. It's hard to tell, but yeah, it looks like it. But like I said, full hula hoop, side to side, everything's working there. Still have the drop down method. Still has some rotation at the hip, that the thigh that goes up inside that ball joint. It's got a boot cut that rotates everything. The knee cover there, as well as this almost like armored soldier looking, like a knight almost style, silverish gunmetal type boot. Let's see how far. It only goes down about that far. Only goes up about that far before it hits this. Has the rocker with the peg hole. Go ahead and show you that this is double jointed. Knees up in here. Just look at the gear work there. It looks really neat. It's very different and very well done, I think. like the way they did these legs and this boot and everything. You see there's like a kneecap part there too, and then a cover, armored cover that goes over the knee, even built into the boot. So that's cool. If you pull that out, he's gonna kick up only about that much because that skirt really starts pulling. It's kind of a thick, stiff plastic. Not much of a stride going back there, but I do like the touches on the color, like this metallic turquoise, which we've seen turquoise on Trapjaw, of course. Matter of fact, in Filmation, his skin was almost that color, I think, compared to this anyway. It's always been a blue, but yeah. But you can definitely see the whole gamut there. He's not going to get full splits because it's that skirt's going to hinder, but that's far enough. But there is his articulation. He's looking cool. You see the browns back here. I think the color tones mesh well together, and he definitely looks like he did in the movie. I think the head sculpt's good. I've seen some already complaining about the head, and there's been even some custom people that are like doing a head, but I think this head looks like the one in the movie. I mean, you could definitely maybe do some wash and some paint apps on this to bring it out even more, like in these straps and maybe even in the green on his face. But you know, overall I think it looks really good, looks stellar, looks like he's supposed to, and it looks like Trapjaw. When you see him coming, you know it's Trapjaw. Technically, with those little pieces on there, you can even kind of pop those onto his back if you want to store them. See those little pieces? They'll allow it to just kind of hook on, and it's hard to do it with one-handed. But I also was going to show you that it's also on these, and these will definitely hook onto those straps on the back. Now there's no hole. It looks like a hole, but all it is just a slightly recessed with black paint in there, so there's no way to attach any kind of effect piece on the cannon like we've seen in some of the other Trapjaw figures that we have. But let's go ahead and do now some comparisons of these dudes right now. All right, and here are some Skeletors. You have our classic Skeletor. You have the more vintage collection Skeletor. This is actually the one that came in that San Diego Comic-Con 2-pack with He-Man and Skeletor that had the articulated jaw. But one of my favorite Skeletors, very classic looking. But look how they just make this one look so small. I would say this one looks more realistic. The Havoc staff and the skull, and even somewhat the body texture, having that texturized look. They did a really good job because he looks like Skeletor. We got the Skeletor we were wanting to have, but he does look more realistic. Just definitely smaller than classics, especially in the sense of his head and his buck, and definitely shorter than Masterverse or Vintage Collection. Here is the Bone Throne Skeletor, which I did put the Battle Armor Skeletor head on there, but kept the cowl. And he's got the Revelation Havoc staff, and there's the Revelation body, the cloth cape, but I do have a actual customized magnetic style head. You could do the magnetic face with mouth closed or magnetic face with mouth open. So there is the Revelation. There's your New Eternia Bone Throne Skeletor. Here's your movie Skeletor, and of course you can see, you know, most of them had the claw feet. You have the 3 clawed feet, kind of like your classics. Then you have the more open clawed feet, and we saw him with these open clawed feet in the movie when he was laying down with his boots sitting off to the side. So you kind of got both worlds in a way, because there was one Skeletor in classics that had just regular, you know, rounded off boots. So you'd have to really cram those claws into those rounded off boots. But there you go. You know, he made it happen. But there you have some Skeletor comparisons. And here's our New Eternia Tri-Klops next to our movie Tri-Klops. There's our Classics Tri-Klops. They're about the same height, but man, definitely exaggerated here, more cartoonish, more, sci-fi, whereas here you have a little bit more, well, this is definitely sci-fi, but it's definitely more believable and brought into an adaptation of live action, which is what we're wanting. And then, the Revelation one really was, I don't know, kind of benign in my opinion. I didn't really care for it much. The visor was cheap looking. Pretty much everything was cheap looking. Really like the classic one, but it's just a totally different motif. Really like the New Eternia one, even though it's got a very strange face color that does not match the rest of his body where they painted that. But anyway, he's got some cool gear and just looks overall really nice, I think, the New Eternia version. But yep, the movie one looks really cool. I think he looked really neat. I love that piping around his head. I love the way they did his visor. It's just got that weathered look, and the translucent lenses in them just looks epic. I like it. Not big on them having blasters and rifles and stuff like that. Wish they had gone with a little bit more, uniqueness and sci-fi almost type uniqueness of weaponry, kind of like we had in the cartoon. But that's just a nitpick. But still really cool sniper type rifle. Makes sense, eagle eye, a sharpshooter kind of motif is, it works for Tri-Klops. And here's our New Eternia trap jaw, which is one of my favorites. Awesome arm, awesome jaw, which you can switch it out with a pinkish type bottom jaw too, but I like the metal looking one. And then you have, of course, the one from the movie. And one of the things I like about the one in the movie, he had a very unique walk and posture, and they really translated that into the action figure. The way he kind of stands and the way you kind of move him, he kind of has that wonky type walk or posture. And usually, just like with the Filmation one over here, he kind of had he was kind of hunched over in the Filmation cartoon and had kind of a short posture. And here's the Classics, which was a good mix between your Filmation / 2000X, which also looked really good. But this one, you could definitely tell, hey, that's Trapjaw, but it translated into real life convincingly, in my opinion. I thought it looked really good, but not too weird, but not, unrecognizable either. Just awesome. So yeah, really cool comparison here of these figures, from Filmation simplicity to our Classics to the live action Trapjaw, who's pretty tall. He's pretty much as tall. He's they went a different direction, made him larger in the movie. He's up there pretty much with the New Eternia, except, New Eternia has bigger features, but height-wise, he's up there. So that's pretty cool. But, yeah, my favorite here is this New Eternia Trapjaw. He's just really good. They did an excellent job mixing, I think, your Classics / even some of your comic book interpretations, but just love the arm, the way they did the articulation, the look of the arm and everything looks really good here. And he came with, places to store stuff, and came with a sword for his back. I mean, just so many neat things. And I really like the weaponry. I mean, very iconic, very recognizable for the movie figure here too. Cool. And thank you so much for taking a look at these movie action figures with us today. We have Tri-Klops. We have our movie accurate Skeletor, and there's Scareglow to give you an idea of him next to him there. He's a little Chronicles Scareglow. He's a little taller than Skeletor. And then we have our Trapjaw, which is probably my favorite as far as movie accurate and, just standalone looking good, and his height and everything. I really like him. Of course, love this Skeletor. Looks very much like the movie. Would have liked those teeth to have been a little bit more, in line. But overall, I love the color of the face. I love the Havoc staff, and I may try to give him a wash like I've seen some on Instagram do with that blue skin, make it pop even more. But yeah, just a great set of action figures. Chronicles is really making us proud. I think they're impressing most fans, and especially the movie, and then these figures coming alongside it. I'm really pleased with this Chronicles line. Hope you'll come back and see us again next time. Like if you've enjoyed this video, subscribe if you haven't, and also comment if you have something to share, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Here's some photos in the photo gallery. Be blessed.